Five Nights at Freddy's has become a staple in the horror community. Whether you love it or hate it, the franchise has managed to worm its way into the mainstream, having produced several games, books, merchandise, memes, and even a movie which is in the making. Five Nights at Freddy's isn't just known for its goofy animatronics and scares. Thousands of fan games have been produced which give Five Nights at Freddy's lore its own twist. One of such fan games is Forgotten Memories in Roblox. The game is really well made, incredibly immersive and spooky at times, but I find some aspects of the game to be lacking, which ruins the experience for me. In this video, I'll be covering Forgotten Memories, explaining what the game does well and what it doesn't. The game follows 4 characters that each player can play: Amber, Jay, Todd, and Travis. The game starts off with the reopening of a new restaurant called Tony's, which was built upon the old Five Nights at Freddy's 1 location. The group of 4 have applied for a job there in order to earn some cash, but just as any group of late teens in horror movies, things are not as they seem. These teens now have to survive for 5 days within the establishment in order to escape, with each night becoming more and more difficult. Guiding them through the nights is a phone guy explaining what every animatronic does each night. The 4 survive 5 nights, but the final night is not what they expected. The group decides to make a run for it and attempt to bash down the now boarded up entrance. To their dismay, Freddy catches up with them, and, well, what really sets the story apart is the animation. The cutscenes are phenomenal, especially the different perspectives of the cutscenes. I have played through this game twice with different characters, and the final cutscene follows the character you pick to play as. If you are Jay, you are the first to reach the door, and you are the one attempting to bash it down. If you're Travis instead, you're the last one to enter and play as the lookout. It's attention to detail which really shows the developers care for their game. Anyway, I don't really have much to say about the story. It's simple, yet effective. The voice acting is good too. My main gripe with the game, however, is the gameplay itself. The gameplay is unlike any other traditional Five Nights at Freddy's game. You and your team start in the office. Your office contains the switches to the doors, the cameras, a map with lights, and curtains with the puppet behind it. To survive the night, the players must avoid the animatronics and repair both generators and oxygen when they break, which happens randomly. To repair both generators and oxygen, one player must make their way to where the light is blinking on the map and interact with either the generator or the oxygen switch respectively. When you run out of power, time will pause and Golden Freddy has a random chance to spawn and kill the player. When you run out of oxygen, all players will begin to suffocate until you die. So, the goal of each player is to repair both generators and oxygen as a team to survive the night. Now this sounds simple, but animatronics are there for a reason. Freddy is active from night 1 onward and roams the main stage, protecting the oxygen switch. Hide in the lockers to avoid him. The marionette is also active from the start. They're in the back of the office, and to stop them, you shut the curtains which slowly start to open. Contrary to the previous games, the marionette is not an instant loss. If the marionette is active, look around you. The marionette will stare at you for a short while before attacking you. If you stare at them though, they'll go back to the curtains. Night 2 activates Bonnie, which hangs around the warehouse, protecting the path towards the generators. Also use the lockers to avoid him. Night 3 introduces Foxy, which activates throughout the night and makes their way towards the office. Shining your flashlight in his face slows him down. To stop Foxy, head to Pirate Cove and interact with the present to return Foxy to the stage. Chica is active at night 4 and protects the generators themselves. To deal with Chica, look at her. Yeah, that's it. Just keep your eyes on her and she won't move. Night 5 is when Golden Freddy is present. When the lights go off, Golden Freddy will attack the player and kill them. The gameplay loop for 4 players involves 2 players sitting in the office, one of which watches the map and protects the office from the occasional animatronic while the other is on curtain duty. Player number 3 heads to the generators, plays around with Chica and repairs the generators when they break, and player 4 heads to the oxygen room where they have switch flipping duty. There are a few issues with this gameplay loop. First of all, Freddy likes to wander this exact hallway here and doesn't stray too far most of the times. This means that Freddy will most likely never pose a threat to the office players, but only to the player that has oxygen duty. And again, this is no issue since you can simply walk behind him into the arcade and be completely safe, as Freddy won't enter the arcade himself. This means oxygen duty involves standing right in front of the switch the entire night and flipping it whenever the office player calls out an oxygen failure. Bonnie and Chica are supposed to prevent the generator player from doing their job, but this is flawed as well. Bonnie likes to roam in this area and will almost never enter the hallway connecting the main corridor to the generator area. I have never had a problem with Bonnie throughout my playthroughs at all, though he does tend to wander into the office more often than not, so that's alright. Foxy is mostly alright as well, but he's not really a threat, as because he also has a fixed walking pattern and is essentially just Freddy too. I don't have a big problem with Chica, but the player on the generator duty simply has to stand in this corner and watch Chica until the generator breaks. Even then, Chica is not a problem, as standing right next to the doorway in the generator rooms will prevent Chica from seeing you, meaning more often than not, Chica will just continue you her patrol away from the generators. Remember how I mentioned there were cameras? Well, those are completely useless. Don't even look through them. Now, I can hear you say through your monitors, "Hey Pixel, isn't there a nightmare mode if you want a challenge?" Well, I didn't notice a change from the normal mode. It's just as easy as normal mode. So, to sum it all up, the gameplay is bland because the animatronics don't fully support the gameplay mechanics I believe the devs were going for. Now, I may be good at complaining, but what good is complaining if I don't provide solutions? Keep in mind, this section is entirely my opinion. I do not mean to ask the devs for change. This is what I do if I were the developers, nothing more, nothing less. To fix Freddy, I would have him walk into the arcade or have him be able to see into the arcade. To support this change, I would place a vent in the arcade as well, to be able to hide from him. I'm not sure whether I want to change the marionette. A fun idea might be to use the cameras to shut the curtains alongside the option to do it manually. The cameras are kinda useless, so this might give them more of a use. Bonnie is mostly alright, but I would have him wander into this area equally, and not just in the main square. I feel like a better role for Foxy would be to be a threat everywhere, so I would speed up his walking speed, not to the same extent as his running, but maybe a little slower than that. Alongside this change, I would like to see Foxy be able to enter any room in the entire complex. A fun idea might be to have the lights and the cameras slow Foxy down, or make him stop dead in his tracks. Give the lights and the cameras a certain charge that it slowly drains as you use the lights. To recharge these lights, simply don't use them for a little. Chica is mostly alright as well, but I feel like the entire generator section should get a little rework to make her more fun to deal with. The parts and service room has 4 subrooms, and only 2 of them are used. Why not have each room contain a generator? After a certain amount of time, one of those generators would go off. The failing generator will be visible on the map, and a generator duty would ensue. I would also speed up Chica's roaming speed, to make her just a little more threatening, as right now, she's very easy to deal with. Golden Freddy is fine, to be honest. I have nothing really to say about him. Taking everything into account, Forgotten Memories is an incredibly well-made, immersive Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. Even though the animatronics are easy to deal with, I had a good time playing the game. I understand why the game is fairly easy though. After all, the game was created in Roblox. You know, a kid's game? I'm not its target audience, but that's fine. Don't let this video deter you from trying the game out yourself. You may find the link to the game in the description below. Do you agree with my takes, or do you think everything I said was ridiculous? Please let me know in the comments, and I'll gladly take a look through them. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.